What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time, I can guarantee you this is not going to be your last time, because this is all about bridging that gap from beginner to pro. Whether you've been doing this for years, for months, or this is your first day, we have the alpha and the lessons for you here in BitLab Academy. Within these daily streams on YouTube as well, when you want to take your education further, if you are a beginner or maybe you've been in the game for a while, you want to learn new trading strategies, make sure you head over to bitlabacademy.com. That's where you find it, right all down here, all of our correct socials. Now, we're going to be diving right in today because I have a lot of charts I want to share with you, as well as going over all you early birds that were here before 10:15, that were here at 10 o'clock, or anywhere between 10 and 10:15. You are the early birds, and I like to reward you for being involved in our community. And you all shouted out a couple of coins. We're going to be looking at Cosmos. We're going to be looking at Quant. We're going to be looking at Cardano. Of course, we'll always look at Bitcoin and ETH. And what the heck is going on in the market right now? Well, we're seeing over $2.15 billion, over 71,000 Bitcoin purchased in the last week, plus from sharks and whales, that is Bitcoin addresses with 10 to 10,000 coins in them. And we're seeing accumulation from some of these, sort of semi-smart to smart, or semi-big to very big players, from sharks to whales. Is this an indication that the market's about to go higher, or is another dump in store before we get that push to the upside? Well, we're going to be diving into all that and more. We're going to be doing TA charts on-chain, as well as setups within these charts. So everybody, if you haven't yet, I don't know what you're doing, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Let's get involved. We got 86 people in the room, 62 likes. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's go ahead and dive right on into it. First things first, make sure you're following me over here at Kellam. That's right here, Kelly, Kellam. Look for the blue check mark. Look for the hit logo. There's so many fake accounts out there. That's why we do this every day. We're over 22,100, almost 150 followers there. In addition to that, make sure you scroll down just a little bit. If you want to ask what kind of buyer or seller you are you smart or are you dumb? AKA, what have your past decisions rendered you in this market, and how can you adjust that? Well, let's go ahead and bring up this chart. And I want you to see something that I laid out many months ago, almost 6 months ago now, about what I thought the price action was going to do. We're hitting this spot on. I mean, we came up initially, got rejected, came back down. This is essentially where we're at about right now. It's lining up, June to July, right about right in here. Now, this time frame, exactly how this is laid out, may not play out entirely accurately, but in terms of where we're at in price action, this currently is playing out quite splendidly. But the point here is, look at these hype buyers with no conviction. And the smart money. You see this smart money right on these lows? I'm going to take my face off. You see the smart money buying when everybody is fearful? This is what we want to turn every one of us here into. We want to buy when the emotional traders say this is the end. It's going to go down to 12,000. It's going to go down to 6,000. The end of Bitcoin is near. This is where we buy, because we are smart. And if we don't buy here, that's okay too. Because why? We can wait for a confirmation, which is kind of what we've gotten right here. And this is essentially, if we look at the Bitcoin chart, if we zoom out here, we can see, look at this push up, this test to the downside, push up right in this zone. What is this zone? This zone right here. Wow, that looks very similar to this right here, coming down and then coming back up to test. So will we get this follow through to the upside, or will we have, because this doesn't have to play out, and that's okay. Will we get another push to the downside? Well, think about it. If it does happen, that means we have another opportunity to buy bargain sale bottom floor prices. So no matter what the charts do, there's always opportunities in both directions. So let's dive on into it. Make sure you're checking out this chart if you haven't yet. We want to make sure that we get as close to smart money accumulation as we can. And I just want to touch on this before we dive in any further. Now, before we go any further, now make sure you head over to the BitLab Academy Twitter page, which is right here at Academy BitLab. Hit that follow, look for the gold check, the hit logo, hit the follow, hit the retweet, hit the like button, and you will be entered to win. We give away different stuff every week. It could be $100, could be $100, and all access membership for our courses, as well as a premium Discord. It could be the indicators. It could be, I got some NFTs coming. I got a little partnership with a pretty good community that I think we'll be doing some giveaways here fairly shortly. And I'll release that info as we get that a little bit more developed. But I do also want to say we've been working night and day. Me and Ray is our back-end guy here at BitLab Academy. We've been working night and day on getting a bunch of adjustments here on basically a new integration for the BitLab trading stack with volume, basically a profile. You can do basically the full visible range. You can also come here, watch, if we double click on it, we can go to a fixed range here, and this will track along with the chart. You can have your volume delta here, which shows you if it's primarily buying or selling, which is dominant. You can also double click on this, turn off the volume delta if you just want to see the profile. We have not only that, we have the point of control here, and then you look at these red and green boxes. These are order blocks that are printing on here to show you where there's interesting activity in the chart that price will likely either find support or resistance and very likely come back to. It doesn't have to come all the way down here, but this does show if the price does start falling where we can look at. We also have on the BitLab intelligence, we can see we've got signals, and we're still adjusting. This is why this update is not out yet. We can see basically a quantitative signals that's looking at divergences, that's looking at the VWAP, that's looking at the EMA ribbon, that's looking at this dynamic trend support and resistance zones that also shows us what's the dominant trend. We see this is a dominant uptrend. We see this is dominant downtrend that doesn't get fully dominant because we don't get this shading here. But we're getting a lot of new signals that are going to be integrated into all this, and we can really see where there's really strong areas of interest, especially on different time frames. You're going to get different sorts of signals. Let's go ahead, double click on this, and we can see, look at this, great buy signal, great take profit signal. And we're still adjusting these so we can get them as tight as we want, but we got a lot of stuff coming here. I just wanted to point that all out to you. Now, coming back over to all of you, again, I just want to say how much I appreciate each one of you showing up every day here to the BitLab Academy daily streams. I met with Alex Green and Brad Guidell on Friday. I hope, throw one in chat right now if the audio, visual, everything's working good. On my side, it looks like it's lagging. I hope it's not lagging for you all. But I met with Brad and Alex this weekend, Friday, I believe. It was either Friday or Saturday. And we have a lot of content that we're working on that's going to bring you all insight into a couple things. It's going to be, I don't want to call it a deep dive, but a broad stroke dive on, many of the top altcoins in the market. What is Ethereum? What is HBAR? What is AVAX? What is a quant? So on and so forth. And we're going to be doing some polls for all of you as well as to some of the content that we do around that. This is going to be afternoon content. This way you can see what it is we look for when we're trying to identify what is a good asset to go into. We're going to be looking at the total value locked. We're going to be looking at addresses and basically the trend in addresses going up and down, the fees, transaction fees, which gives us a good metric as to how much that network, that protocol is being utilized. We're going to be looking at tokenomics of those coins, release schedules, all kinds of different stuff. And also, sort of breakdown of what each one of these coins does with, because they're all different. Cardano is different from AVAX. AVAX is different from Near. Near is different from Polkadot. So rather than just trading an asset because you see other people talking about it or you're looking at the price action, why not do what we should be doing anytime we invest in any asset? And that's doing some damn diligence and saying, I know what this asset's mission is. I know what their target is. And this way we can track better in terms of what sort of growth metrics we should be looking at if this is a good asset beyond just looking at price. Because remember, price is the last thing you should be looking at. It's very important. But price gives you a better visual asset. A better visual tool as to where to pull the trigger on a trade, but the fundamentals of projects is what gives you the true sauce, the true edge in terms of identifying where things fit in an ecosystem, what parts of ecosystems are growing, and which ones have the best opportunity to grow into the future. Or if there's certain setups that are showing, although price is going up, maybe the fundamentals suggest this is unfounded and it likely will fall. So we're going to be diving more into that coming in about the first week of August. We have some preparation to get done. We need to create a little bit of a backlog so we can do it on a daily basis. But we got a lot to talk about today, so let's dive in. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and let's get this going. All righty, well, let's go ahead and click on this right here. Coming back over to the page, what are we talking about today? Well, first things first, let's go ahead and look at the weekly chart. This is Monday. Let's get in tune with sort of looking at things a little bit on a macro on Mondays. Get the landscape for the week. And what did we talk about early on? I used to talk about it every day. I haven't in a while. We want to look at least 3 time frames on any asset before we really try to derive any analytical data from it, any analysis. And that is what? The macro, the midterm, and the micro. So looking here at the weekly, of course, we had this massive downtrend. We've broken out of this downtrend. We've come up. Looking at just this right here, this currently looks like a strong uptrend. However, we are sitting at a pivotal point. And I've talked about this a bit last week, but if we come here on the chart, if we come from this first touch right here and we go right here and we do press shift, click on the chart, come over, we have been basically finding an equilibrium above, coming down and coming back to this equilibrium right here. This has been 910 days. Should we expect price to just blast through a known zone that over 910 days has held some importance? We see that we got a rejection right here. We come back up to it, and rather than be rejected, now remember, we're on the weekly. One candle up, bearish engulfing candle down, clear rejection. Okay, now we have a strong buy candle up right here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this like this. We have a strong buy candle. We have a, come on. We have a strong buy candle right here. Bullish engulfing right here. And it's taken us moonshot right back to this previous high. And we have technically broken it with this wick right here. However, instead of getting a bullish impulse up and then immediate bearish rejection and consolidation down, we're seeing a bullish, strong bullish impulse up. And then now we have this weekly candle, second weekly candle, third weekly candle, and we are starting on our fourth weekly candle up at this region. So this is a change of trend. We need to pay attention to this. This also suggests that the bulls are taking it a little more seriously at this level, because what are they doing? It doesn't mean that the bears aren't fighting at this level. It means that each time the bears fight, the bulls are able to hold this level up at this region. Now, does this mean that if this falls back down from here, the world's over? Absolutely not. This is suggesting that the bulls, at minimum, are either getting stronger or the bears are getting weaker. Either way, it's a net sum positive for what the change of trend is at these levels. Now, if we do get a washout to the downside, what do we watch for? Well, we'll talk about that when we dive into the TA. I just want to get a little bit of a macro overview before we dive into anything else. We're going to be looking at some stories. We're going to be talking about how that's going to impact what the price is. And then we're going to be diving into a bunch of TAs. So definitely stick around. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, and let's dive into these stories. Again, if you haven't yet, head over to BitLab Academy, hit that follow, hit that retweet, hit that like, get involved, and you shall be rewarded because you're helping crypto community grow, and I love each and every one of you. Now, if you haven't yet, make sure you're following us over here at youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. We've almost hit 8,000. Can't believe it. It's been a matter, basically the first half of the year, we've hit 8,000 in almost a year, which blows my mind. I watched a lot of channels, years ago, take, 1 to 2 years to even get to 3,000 followers. We've done it in 6 months. So big love to every one of you. You're all part of this community. I'm working on an NFT series that's going to give you some special privileges as well for those of you that were here under 10,000. I'll release more info on that soon. Throw a 1 in chat if you like the sound of that. Now let's dive into what we want to talk about today. First things first. Okay, Bitcoin realized price. I want you to notice something here. Looking at this chart, what do we notice? I see a regularity in the price action coming down, testing this level, breaking below it, giving a great accumulation zone, meaning a good area that is visually identifiable, as this is likely a good spot to be layering in more heavily than maybe you were previously. Why do I say that? Because you very well could, And for some people, it might be the smart move to DCA all the time. But if you want to accelerate your ability to participate in this market, you want to accelerate the growth that you can see, maybe, and this is strategy advice, not financial advice, maybe you should set up a schedule. Maybe it's a good idea to set up a schedule to DCA into a dry powder wallet, whether it's allocating, $50 a week, $100 a week, $1,000 a week. Everybody has different sort of levels of income, but make it something that you're comfortable with, that doesn't affect your ability to pay rent, that doesn't affect your ability to be engaged. I don't know what I just got a massive ding from, but big old ding just went off of my ear. Depending on what's going on in your life and your income, and I don't want you to affect that dramatically, because remember, these are still unproven markets. Something could happen. Be smart. But if you DCA, aka set money aside into a dry powder area, you can look at this realized price and say, maybe I'm setting money aside that's not going down here because it's sitting in a stable coin or even a savings account. And then once price comes down and tests the realized price and breaks below it, then I can start figuring out my own schedule based on what I'm seeing in the charts, where I can start allocating all that money that I've been DCAing into dry powder, and I start really DCAing it heavily over a 6-week or 8-week or a 12-week or whatever period you're comfortable with, to DCA that in at wonderful prices in Bitcoin or other parts of the market as well, whatever your diversification is. Now, what I wanted to point out here is we see when price breaks below it, there's a consolidation. I just want to make sure I'm getting dings in my ear. Everything's good. Okay. Let me look at the health. Okay. Everything's good. Sorry about that. I had to, for some reason I was getting a lot of dings in my ear. So what we see is price action revisiting, basically have a huge disparity, a huge divergence from the realized price. That's what this measurement is right here. How far above price is from the realized price. 0 being at, at equilibrium, basically being at the price. We see right here, what is this? The price is right at it, 0. So this is the spread of how far the Bitcoin tradable price is on exchange, the market value, to what the realized value is. And again, got to throw it back to the beginners. The realized value is the average price of every Bitcoin on network the last time it was traded. So this is proven to be an excellent metric to gauge where we're at in the cycle, where's undervalued and where's when you're starting to get very overvalued. Undervalued is a lot easier to recognize because it's when price goes below the average of every Bitcoin on network the last time it was traded. Okay, we see this? Now, when you get the disparity or the divergence with price being way above it, there's no telling how far up it could go. But there's a lot of other charts we can look at for that. We're not getting in that today, but you can dive into the BitLab on-chain analysis course right here. If you haven't yet, get involved, bitlabacademy.com. You can still use Give Me 30 at checkout. We have 20 lessons in here, and there's some new ones that I'm working on right now. Point being is there's a lot of different data tools you can utilize to identify where we are at in the market. But in this case, excellent accumulation anytime we're below it. And what tends to happen is price, once we're below it, we get strong accumulation. We set a floor, a bear market floor that then becomes the basis for which it can hold the market. And then the sentiment shifts over time. And then we get strong bullish impulses up. And look at this. Then we just get this separation that grows over time. And we can see this measured right here. So what we're doing right here, see all three, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each time price moved fairly substantially away from the realized price. And we were under it. This is, an attempt up, breakdown right at the FTX collapse, and then a strong impulse out of it, retest, and then pushing up. So are we going to see the price action start making its way up? I don't think this is in store yet. This is, you see this right here? These are halvings. This is post-halving, but pre-halving, we can look at right here. You see these sort of yellowish lines? 90-day price range. See this? Pre-halving? That's actually, yeah, so we're seeing push up, impulse and pullback pre-halving, strong impulse up, strong pullback, because if you have a lot of price action to the upside, that means you're going to have a more dramatic move to the downside. We also see this here. See this blow off top, meaning price moved up and then it got rejected and basically, just got rejected straight down. Here we had a rounding top twice, and then we had this sort of laggard sort of bearish breakdown. So what is it? How do we make of, how do we take an analysis from these two cycles that we're seeing right here and estimate what could happen here? Well, we have to look at the data, and we want to establish, are we setting up the framework for conditions that will support market move higher? That's what we want to talk about. So, and this is from The Rational Root. If you're not following him, definitely go over here and give him a follow. It's at The Rational Root. And let's go ahead and look at this one too. This also shows us 3 different cycles. It looks like a lot of lines, but all you have to do, remember, is look at the key. Look at, because all these charts, they try to do a pretty good job. These people that put the charts out. And when I used to put out a lot of on-chain charts as well, you try to provide a data key, a metric on there that gives you an indication of what all the different things mean. So we have this right here, this pinkish line is our current price action. And we are right about in line with, look at this. We had a high in 2019 and we had a pullback after a high in 2015. And look at this. It's pretty interesting that we are almost exactly at a median level between these two zones. So can this be something that sort of perpetuates into the future? Are we going to find sort of an average trading volume not have this super exciting blow, push to the upside and then very aggressive pullback pre-halving? Maybe, but we also see a different situation, a different environment now than we've had in the past. Of course, on the one hand, we need a hell of a lot more monetary power, a lot more energy, monetary energy and monetary velocity in order to get something like this 2019 push to the upside. Why? Because our market cap of Bitcoin is much higher. Market cap, think of large market caps like large ships, small market caps like small little speedboats. A small speedboat in a 20-foot sea could get flipped. A tanker, an oil tanker, or a cruise ship is going to cut right through those waves. Those waves are monetary velocity, okay? And so what it means is, in order to turn a ship that is 300 feet long, it takes a hell of a lot more energy than it does to turn a ski boat, right? So we want to pay attention to the fact that there are going to be correlations that we are going to see in multiple different time frames and different cycles, but also there's going to be different conditions that influence what the price action can do. So in this case, yes, it takes a lot more monetary energy to basically drive the price into situations that we really want, which is price action go up. However, although it's going to take a lot more monetary energy to do that, we are also in a framework right now that we are on the cusp of having exponential monetary energy come into the network, and that is access to it through all these ETFs that have been applied for, and especially BlackRock being the big dog on the entire street. They are the street, okay? And that means, what I mean by that is, over $9 trillion in assets under management. They manage more funds than the GDP. They're larger than the GDP of every country on earth other than US and China. So them giving that stamp of approval, and where we're at right now with everything going on, a lot of pressure on the SEC. There's no real reason why they should be denying these ETFs. And now that BlackRock is, and they got initially sort of rebuffed because they didn't have all the things in place. I think that was a little bit of a chess move tact. So it didn't look like BlackRock was getting it straight away. But then they added Coinbase as their asset manager, as their custody agent. You're getting a lot of standards and practices integrated there for oversight and transparency. And so when we do see ETFs get approved for BlackRock, I think it's going to be a very fast domino where we're going to see a lot of other asset managers like ARK Invest, Invesco, potentially even Grayscale, start having different ETFs in the US. And when this happens, this is basically opening the doorway for more money than any of us can fathom. It doesn't mean all that money is coming into Bitcoin, But if we get even 0.25% of allocation from these huge asset managers into Bitcoin exposure, this is a monetary energy that we need in order to drive it drive the prices where we want. Because as it stands right now, to get the price, even to reach a previous all-time high, it takes an enormous amount of money and trust and adoption and all the things that we need from individual small retail accounts. Now, we're going to need retail still. However, it is the institutions that are going to really support and drive the next bull market. So we're at a very interesting point right now, pre-halving, that we really need to pay attention to what's going on, because we very well could have a stronger impulse than we ever expected, but we also may get something that people do not want to talk about. And that is, institutions are coming in, should be price up only. However, institutions coming in also means that smart money comes in. What does smart money do? It takes advantage of the emotionality of retail traders. So if they want in, and they're very smart and calculated about it, and all of us are as well, then we can also be prepared if the price were to dump. As Tim says, Tim's TA, when institutions miss the boat, they bring the boat back. So we want to pay attention to the potentiality of price action still having a liquidity grab below the prices that we're at now. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. It doesn't mean it's bearish for the long term of Bitcoin. If the price action actually dumps and we see a lot of institutional investors scaling in, and we see an enduring sort of hodl factor from the 1 to 2 year holders, and we're not seeing strong capitulation from those, then this is a recipe for absolute boomtown. Okay, so everybody throw one in chat if you want boomtown, because we all do. But in order for all of us to participate in it, it also means that we have to be somebody that has the resilience of spirit, and also the mindset to look at data, not be scared by price movement. Because if the institutions are on the doorstep and the price falls, that actually gives institutions a better incentive to come in. And I would rather be in before these institutions and take advantage of this movement rather than, let the market dip, come back up, and then I feel safe again. Then I buy, and now, this is the first opportunity really in history to really be involved in this asset class before the institutions. So I am a net buyer on any dip. I am not selling as it stands right now, Bitcoin. So, but everybody has their own strategy. Those of you that are scalping, meaning trading multiple times throughout the day, you can have your own strategy, and that's fine. Our strategies can differ. That's okay. I'm not scalping right now. I am setting up, especially because I sold so much before I moved. I got everything that I needed. I've bought, I basically reallocated back in a little degen-y. But I'm making some moves. I got about I don't know. I don't want to say how much on stream, because last time I was hacked. But I got some coins, some AVAX and some Quant and some XRP and some Cardano. But I'm a net buyer right now, and when those move, I will take profits from those and allocate that into Bitcoin. But let's continue on with these stories. A mellow fellow says, facts, Kelly. That's right. Facts with all of you. I am going to be open, transparent, and share all of the things I'm doing here. And yeah, I'm ready for Boomtown. I am ready for Boomtown, but I'm also okay. I'm also very okay and aware that Boomtown might not even come until 2024. We could have a very choppy, weird, sideways market. And I look at that like I have a longer time period to buy the dips and set myself up, because 2024 and 2025, barring any sort of major economic catastrophe globally, or some much larger scale war or something that's going to affect, global economies, or, major global recession, I think that we are in store for an absolutely incredible bull market. We're going to talk about that. Jumper GCS World says, Kelly, what's the hash rate looking like? That's part of some of the stuff we're looking at today. But on the note of what I was talking about with these 3 different cycles, with Bitcoin setting up for potentially a massive bull run, that doesn't mean it's going to happen today or tomorrow or next month. But in terms of looking at the next 3 years, we are setting up. But what does that mean right now? Is there any indication that something other than amazing could happen? Well, looking at this tweet from Dylan LeClaire, we can see right here, this is a little bit concerning to me. This is essentially showing Bitcoin transfer volume miners to exchanges. Look at this astronomical move to the upside. Now, one of the interesting things about this, I'm not going to lie to you, I literally just realized this as I am showing you this. This is an interesting number right here, 70,850, and I'll show you why in a second. But before we go any further, this is miners moving to exchange. What does this mean? Well, when we're looking at exchange net flow, which is essentially, if we look at this chart right here, that's hash rate, but let's go to here. I'm going to go pull that there. I'm going to come back to favorites. I want you to see exchange net position change. So this is everybody in the market minus miners, okay? This is coins being held and in individual addresses not on exchange, right? Down here, this is coins moving off of exchange into private wallets. And when this flips green, this is coins moving onto exchange. And what do you do on exchange? You buy, sell, and trade, right? So one of the metrics we like to utilize with on-chain data is looking at what the relationship is of what Bitcoin holders are doing and where they're holding their coins. And when we measure this metric and we see a lot of coins, you see this right here, sharp downtick right here, meaning coins coming off exchange. This increases the illiquid supply. This means there's less available supply on exchange. What this could also be looked at as one of the things that you can draw, an insight you can draw from this is this means people are not planning to sell right now. When you see this, look at this all of a sudden swing, sharp uptick right here. Sharp uptick meaning coins moving onto exchange in droves. And what happens right as this happens? We get a strong sell-off. So what you can infer from using data like this, and this is just the everyday and institutional players, not miners. When coins are moving onto exchange, you can look at it not 100% of the time, but there's a pretty strong correlation that if people are moving their coins onto exchange and holding them on exchange, this means there's a higher probability that they're looking to sell. So you can use this a little bit as a foreshadowing, but it also happens somewhat after. See, like right here, when the price fell out of the bottom right here, we get this sharp uptick right here. See as this upticks, you can watch this dot right here drop down. As this upticks, we're seeing a sharp drawdown and then a little bit of an equilibrium here. People are trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And then we finally break past this level and then people go, okay, coins off exchange, safe. And then we get up, what is this level? This is a 1.618. How do I know that? Because I've been looking at charts for years. And we see right here, essentially what that is. If we go from the top, option F, to the bottom, we see right here, see the 618, the golden pocket, 61865. And we can see that this these wicks, if we zoom in on this, we zoom in like this, we can see that this, look at this wick fills the entire area of the the golden pocket, the 618. And this is an area at which, the reason why we utilize this is an area at which when you do have a price action pullback, that price is likely to come back and tap that region. You can even see this over and over again. If we go from this top right here, option F, to the bottom right here, we see price action comes up to the golden pocket, rejects down. Okay, let's look right here. Option F. Now this is getting weaker, you see, because this comes up only to 0.5 and breaks down. Now what does this one do? Option F. Now look at this. Price action bounces right into the golden pocket, 618. So we can utilize multiple different parts of our technical analysis tools like Fibonacci's, like volume, like price action, in conjunction with what's happening with on-chain to get a broader picture about what's going on in the market. And where this was right here, price action broke above this zone right here. So we saw those coins come off exchange, but then as this moves up and people are aware that this is moving up towards a golden pocket and it's pre-halving, people start preparing, they start setting their stop limit orders or their limit orders or sell orders. They're preparing to sell when the price action gets up into this zone. And that's exactly what happened. And we can see this You see this right here, boom, and it comes down. Now, where we're at right now, this is what's interesting about it. If we zoom in on this a little bit, we're seeing, since this pullback, even on the rise up, and we're at a critical level, this level that we talked about that's held for 910 days, we're seeing that a lot of coins, it's actually accelerating coins coming off exchange. So this is further leading to the illiquid supply in the market. Illiquid supply, what is that? If there's 100 guys on the street selling diamonds, you can get the best price because there's a lot of diamonds available. If I'm the only guy on the street that has diamonds, and all of a sudden there's a huge need for diamonds, whether it be for production of commercial production for things, or for wedding seasons coming up, whatever, I can demand a higher price for those diamonds. Illiquid supply. So what we're seeing is here, there's a increasing illiquid supply, aka a shrinking amount, that's the proper term, shrinking amount of available supply on exchange. So even without having new demand come in, we're increasing the effect of every bit of demand that's in the market because there's less available supply. So I'm going to tie all this in with a couple of other charts here in a second as well. But I want you to notice here, right here, miners transfer to exchanges. So this could be a little worrisome because miners tend to have quite a bit of Bitcoin, and we see they're transferring to exchange. This doesn't mean they're absolutely going to sell, but it does provide the accessible liquidity if they want to drive the price back down. This 70,850 coins. If we look at this next chart, this is from Rational Root. It's a deeper look at this. This is all Binance. So miners to exchange, it's all put on Binance. Now, what's interesting about this is that one of the stories that we're going to go over here, and the fact that we have the thumbnail on today's stream about the 2 billion, I think it's 2.15 billion or 71,000 Bitcoin that have been bought in the last week or two since the BlackRock ETF. This is interesting. Was there some sort of OTC, over-the-counter deal that miners were looking for some liquidity for growth? I don't know, but it's interesting to me that 71,000 is pretty close to that 70,850. And I only drew that correlation while we were here live on stream. I didn't even notice that was the total before. I just want us to pay attention to this because this could be a recipe for institutions potentially dumping a little bit on the market to trigger some of these people that are going leverage long now, trigger these people that are buying at a level after price is already pushed up without a confirmation of a breakout higher. Maybe this is a liquidity grab to drive prices lower for institutions to get better prices. But we don't know that yet, but we're seeing the precursors of something, and it could be a manipulative precursor. So we need to notice that as well. Now, on this same note, I was talking about potential. And remember, I am as bullish as they can be. But along with that bullishness comes the awareness of likelihood of a liquidity grab, a liquidity flush out to the downside. And so one of the things that I'm looking at as well is our boy Matthew Hyland here has something that he shared here yesterday, just before the daily close. That is this chart right here. What does this chart signify? Now, remember, when we're talking about divergences, if we're measuring from the bottom side of the RSI, it's typically, the bottom side of the RSI and the bottom side of price action as typically looking for bullish divergences. When you're looking at the tops, that's basically identifying bearishes. So we're seeing right here, price action went higher, or even if it was at equilibrium, but it did go slightly higher, but let's call it equilibrium just to be fair, or be conservative. On the RSI, we see lower highs here. So this is hidden bearish divergence. This is suggesting that price action went up, and the RSI came down. So you see this. Actually, this isn't hidden bearish divergence. This is just bearish divergence in RSI. Got my divergences mixed up there. But what this is signifying is price action made that attempt higher, but the strength didn't agree with it. So may have got a little, if you're in a car going up a hill, maybe there's a little bit of wind behind the car that got you further up the hill than the gas than the gas or power in the vehicle somebody did the calculations on. It's like, well, how did he get higher? Well, they didn't account for, you know, a large wind gust that was pushing this up there. And the wind gusts in this market now are institutions and very big money pushing prices to level to trap people higher, AKA bull traps. Is this a bull trap? Well, I don't know yet, but we're going to break this all down in the TA when we go over a lot of the TA here in a little bit. Let me go ahead and go through chat here for a little bit. Unforgettable name. How you doing? Karen Swigart Harris, Crimson Caravan Company, B Team Crypto, Sawtooth Hiker, Dimple Paw, Randall Dance, Matt C, Alexander G. How's everybody doing today? I'm loving each and every one of you. We got 165 people in the room, 108 likes. Let's get those likes up. Get involved. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ding that bell. But we just want to pay attention to this because when I see this at the same time of seeing a ton of Bitcoin moving to exchange from private holding from miners, are they looking to create some fiat liquidity to do some, or are they trying to stifle a strong bullish impulse pre-halving so that they can keep the prices as low as possible for as long as possible? Who knows? Because they're not dumping yet, but we are seeing that. So that is a little bit of the bearishness that I'm seeing. Let's go ahead and go over some of the stories that are here that kind of talk about what's going on here. Let's go ahead and look before we dive in here. I'm going to go to latest news. We're going to see if there's anything that's popped up. Nothing good. Okay. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Bitcoin sharks and whales accumulated $2 billion worth of Bitcoin since the BlackRock ETF filing. That's 71,000 Bitcoin. You see this right here? The analytics platform focused on cryptocurrencies estimated that Bitcoin sharks and whales, those who have between 10 and 10,000 Bitcoin, have bought 71,000 Bitcoin in the past 3 weeks. So what does this mean? This is a chart right here. We can see this is the accumulation of these the 10 to 10,000 Bitcoin addresses. Strong accumulation at a very, very pivotal level. What is this level? We've talked about it a number of times, but we'll see that it's this right here. Boom, 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 boom. All this price action right here, this rejection right here. We're sitting right here. So what could this mean? Well, first off, let's kind of go from this level, option F. We see we got to look at this. This golden pocket right here is perfectly in line with where these previous, all this price interactivity is right here. So that's one level we could be looking at. Another one we could be looking at right here. We can do a smaller one. At that same level, which is the same level right here that golden pocket was, we have the 2.618. And this is a fib extension from this move right here. This would be the extension of likely price actions, price areas of interest from this move. If price action expanded out of this further, this is a strong area of interest, 2.618. Very good metric for extensions. This was perfectly in line. Let's see. Right in this zone right here. You see this? So this is a strong area of interest if we do break out of this, up to 36,000, up to 38,000. If this does break this level that we're at, this is a zone that I'm looking at. Like this. Okay. Now let's go through the story a little bit longer. I thought that I had put some highlights in here. Did I not? Thought I did. Long story short, a lot of Bitcoin being bought at these over the last 3 weeks. We're at a pivotal level. We want to see which way this goes. If the sharks and whales are buying, and I'm but a baby minnow, I want to be kind of, you know, those fish that swim alongside the sharks so they don't get eaten, but they basically live in a symbiotic relationship, kind of eat the algae and other, you know, bacteria off the skin of the fish, but they're providing a service for the sharks, and they're swimming alongside of them, and they basically get protected by doing so. Now, what can we do to protect ourselves? Well, we're going to be talking about that when we dive in further to the further to the, what was I going to say? Sorry, I get a lot of message here. When we're diving in further into the TA here in a moment. Now, this is other one, and then we're going to be getting into the charts. Bitcoin hash rate hits all-time high amid stagnating prices. Are they stagnating or are they consolidating at a key level? Because look at this. Price action push up, consolidation. Price action push up, consolidation, retracement. Price action push up, consolidation. We may get another retracement and then a bounce. We may also just break out of here. We're going to be diving into that in just a moment. So where is that at? So what I wanted to point out to you here is essentially what is the hash rate and why are we looking at it when we're talking about price action? Well, in the world of proof of work, which is what Bitcoin, the Bitcoin protocol is based on, proof of work currencies such as Bitcoin, the hash rate stands as a critical metric unveiling the health and security of the network. It serves as a measure of the estimated computational power committed to supporting the Bitcoin ecosystem. This is the miners. They're competing to confirm blocks. They're competing to solve a very hard, that's why it's called proof of work. They're competing to solve a very hard algorithm. And the more miners are on network trying to, basically competing to win these block rewards, and in order to win it, you have to solve it before somebody else does, right? The more that are on there, the harder the difficulty is and the stronger the hash rate is because there's more people on there. It takes more hash power to solve something. So the stronger the hash rate is, the stronger the network is because the more decentralized the mining power and, the mining power is and how much computational power is spread globally amongst different people, amongst different institutions and people mining. And so you're getting a stronger network. And if the value of networks is based on how big the network is, this is showing that the network is not only stronger, more secure, but also bigger because there's more miners on it. So this fundamentally, this says strength to the market. As hash rate directly correlates with a more robust and secure network, creating formidable barriers for anyone attempting to compromise its integrity. So we're seeing that when we look here at Glassnode. This is a mining difficulty. I thought I had the hash rate up. Yeah, this is a mining difficulty, right? And look at this strong growth here. But if we come over here to miners, go down to hash rate, we can see, look at this, we're hitting all-time highs. So fundamentally, the Bitcoin network is stronger than it's ever been. And price is not reflecting that yet, right? In terms of the tradable price, the speculative value. Remember, all the price is a speculative value of people saying, I will or won't buy it at this price. The hash rate is a fundamental level, a fundamental value level. Now, does this mean price is going to go up and away from here? Not necessarily. Look here. We reached an all-time high right here, and then we had a strong pullback. So although this does signify strength in the market, it doesn't suggest necessarily that price is absolutely going to go up from here. So we need to be aware of that. Now let's look at this. I didn't even pull this up earlier, but I really like this metric, the market cap to thermocap. Man, we're still very, very low. What is this? Well, let's scroll down. The market cap to thermocap is simply defined as a market cap, aka how much money liquidity is in the asset, divided by the thermocap. And it can be used to assess if the asset's price is currently trading at a premium with respect to total security spend by miners. So this is something that's giving you a metric that's not showing you just basically realized price and, like we're looking at the MVRV, the market value to realized value, or the short-term holder cost basis. That we're not. No, this is looking at the strength of the network and the price as it relates to also the strength and security spend of miners. So you're also weighing this metric against one of the most pivotal and important components of Bitcoin, which is the mining faction of the mining community within the network. We're seeing when we do get down to these levels, it does form a bottom, came down here, tapped this, and now we're sort of consolidating sideways. And we've had this sideways consolidation before, so it's okay. Now, the next thing I want to look at before we dive into the charts here, we got 181 people in the room. Everybody in the room, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. What I want you to look at here, this is an on-chain metric I created last year. This is essentially trend fib opportunity zones. And essentially what it is these are basically giving an indication of kind of where the price is in relationship to fib extensions and reductions of the realized price. And so what I want to look at right here is we can turn off all this other stuff. We can turn off the bull control. We can turn off extreme hype, take profit zone, capitulation, bear exhaustion. Okay, so look at this purple band right here where my mouse is. If you're colorblind, it's where my mouse is. This band right here, we've kind of got rejected below it. This is the bull floor band, and I'll show you why. Because when we zoom out on this, we can see that once we look at this, we got a rejection. We broke above it, found support, and we really started having separation and moved all the way up here. Once we lost it, very similar to this, as well as the short-term holder realized price, which is this pink line. This is a strong signal that we're in a downtrend. Now we break above it, find support. We have another huge expansion to the upside because the Bitcoin price there is 8,000. Bitcoin price there gets all the way up to like 13.5 or something like that. So this is pre-halving though. So then we do get that pullback. We break below it, resistance, resistance. But this is the interesting zone right here. If we look at this purple band here, we really were trading around it up and then almost an equal amount down, all the way from here, all the way over to here before we started in separation. And this is kind of what we're doing right now. We're kind of sucking up into this bull floor band, meaning we're not really having that bull strength. And it's interesting because that band is right at 32,000, basically about 33,000. If we zoom in on this a bit, the reason I think that's interesting is, yeah, right about 33,000. The reason that's interesting is once we take that area, that 33,000, if we look at the Bitcoin price, it's we got far too many fibs on this screen. If we look at that price, why is 33,000 important? Well, 33,000 would be basically right here. And so the interesting thing about this zone, what zone am I talking about? The interesting thing about this zone right here is we have these lows right here that we're fighting to get through these lows. And then the next low, and remember that band was calculated by the realized price, a fib multiple of that. And interesting, that correlates very tightly with right where this bounce zone is right here, right about $33,000. Hold on a sec. See this 32,000, right at 33,000. This is right here, and so this makes sense. Just because we break this zone does not mean we're full bowling away. We need to know that. We got a lot of work to do between this low and this low, not only based on the price, but also based on the other chart, the on-chain chart that we just saw. Okay. So this is a zone we really want to be paying attention to, right where we're at. I think we're going to get a pretty, when we do, I think we're going to get a pretty quick move up to this level. Likely a rejection, come back down to the 30. Where's my brush tool? Move up here, move up quick, probably a little peak above it, tap down. And then if we do have upside price action, I think it's going to look something like that. And this would make sense because this was a key level of where this bounced right here. Look at these calls. Boom, 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 boom. I'm really excited to get this tuned up a little more. So that's what we're seeing on Bitcoin. Now, if we come down, let's look at the 4-hour. Let's actually get some signal as to what's going on in the markets right now. Let me come over here to, let me turn off the fixed range. Let's go to visible range. Okay. So now look at this. We're going to delete this. Come on. So looking at this, look at this order block we have right here printing from the volume. Price action is being suppressed, or it's being held directly below this. Now, what's interesting thing about this is we have a bit of a bull flag right here that this is broken out bearishly out of. Now, it would have been very nice, let's be honest. It would have been the bullish dreamers out there really wanted this right here to break out like this, you know, and really get up here into, you know, these areas up here. But that's not what's played out. What's played out currently, and it doesn't mean it won't. What's currently played out is that the price lost this level and has been rejected and is consolidating at this level. And we're seeing volume has dropped as well. So what does it look like with the, let's actually do, let me save this real quick. I have a lot of different charts here. Now we're going to come to the MACD, RSI, all this stuff. Now we're seeing money come up. This is on the 4 hour. We're seeing the money flow come up, which is nice. It's a good thing that you want to see, but we're seeing the volume come down. And what's interesting to me, what I'm really paying attention to, is the fact that this currently, if we look at this, kind of in a bit of a downtrend, kind of a bit in a bit of a symmetrical triangle right here, right? So this still has a potentiality of this being a little bit of a liquidity washout and then break to the upside. But we're sitting right here. We look at this this volume profile. Look at this volume profile. Look right below us. See this gap right here? If we lose this level, it's very likely we're going to be coming down to the next level here, which would also be in line with this high and these volume nodes here. So somewhere in this region. So what I would be doing is doing something like this. If price were to fall. Yes, I am bullish. I'm showing you a little bit of a liquidity washout to the downside if it were to happen. We have to know what these levels are. Now, this is just looking at price action. So now let's go ahead and give this a little bit of credence with another signal. Let's look at the Fibonacci's. Now, look at this. I did this on price action alone first. Now I drew my fib from here to here. And look at this, 0.382. This is where this box is. Look at this, the 0.5. This is where this line is right here in the volume node right here. Look at this. This is where this previous little local top was, as well as the volume, as well as the golden pocket. So I know now, by looking not only at the price action, but then drawing the fib retracement, that if this were to come down, there's nothing necessarily bearish about this, because when price goes up, we tend to have a correction. We've seen this 4 times in a row now. Push up, correction, push up, very strong correction, washout. Push up, consolidation, and then correction. An attempted push up, and then strong. We could just call this all one consolidation to the downside. Push up, consolidation to the downside. And this also, you know, we could have more confidence in this, because this was also a little bit of a falling wedge, or you could also call it a parallel channel, but it's falling. This was indicating to us there was some consolidation that was likely going to break higher. By the way, we talk about all this in BitLab Academy. If you're not in here, you want to understand what we're talking about, you're more of a beginner. There's also pro stuff in here as well, but especially beginners. Go through these on-chain candles, candle patterns. We talk about all this. We break it all down, and also different indicators, RSIs, stochastics, volume, Bollinger Bands, all this stuff, as well as trading strategies. And we got a lot of stuff that's in here. All you need to do is come over to where mine says my account. Yours will say enroll now. Click that enroll now. Scroll down, and you'll see on the bottom right there's an all access thing you can sign up for. You can use Give Me 30 for 30% off your first month. You can also do the BitLab Pro, which is it's everything we have, the indicators, premium Discord, and all access, and you get about 30% off every month. But rather than spending over $100 a month, we have everything reduced down. So just shout out there if you're trying to take your education further. This is how we do it. We utilize multiple different horizontal support and resistances, diagonal support and resistance, trend lines, as well as volume, as well as Fibonacci's, as well as then indicators to strengthen those arguments. Now, looking here, if we kind of double click on the chart, we see a trend, a downtrend in the RSI, as we can see right here. Downtrend in the RSI. Now, this very well could consolidate here and then reject and come down further. Because if we're looking at this like price, we see a down push, sideways consolidation, down push, sideways consolidation. Will we get one more stair step down? What am I talking about? because we're not yet below this level right here, down in the very undervalued zones that we do see the RSI get to when we have these reversals back to the upside. So is another washout in store? Who knows? But stacking the probabilities to put us in favor of what's going to happen is what we want to do. We're also seeing right here on the stochastics, option T, we're seeing a bit of a trend line as well, a down trend line here. Is this, and look at this, this is pushing up into the zone. The stochastics are already starting to roll over. Now, again, we never know if some major, $100 million buy is going to come in from an institution, or, all we can do is stack the probabilities if something abnormal doesn't happen. But what's looking like to me is that there's a likelihood that we are going to get that move to the downside. Now I got a couple questions here. So Jumper DCS World, BitLab Academy, does price always follow hash rate? They're definitely very correlated. We saw when the hash rate fell significantly when the Bitcoin mining ban happened in, was it April 2021? Is that when it was? That price also collapsed. And that could also be because if hash rate's falling, that means miners are turning off their systems. And if they're turning off their systems, then they're not making money. And so in order to create liquidity, they may have to move coins onto exchange. And that's part of the narrative, but it's also part of the narrative that other people in the market like me and now you are aware of that's a possibility. So then people try to hedge themselves and sort of get out before there's a big downturn in price as well. So it's a little bit cyclical there. Karen Swigert Harris, how often do you review on-chain charts, weekly, monthly, trying to get more schedule on my calendar? I do it at minimum weekly, but I kind of look at things differently throughout the week based on, because I follow a lot of stuff on crypto Twitter. And when somebody pulls out something interesting, then that usually will take me down a rabbit hole and I'll look at a bunch of stuff. But I like to also see if we're at a key level like this, like we are right here. I want to see what's going on with, the exchange net position change. I want to see what's going on with supply last held, or supply last moved 1 to 2 years. There's a couple metrics, and I go through all that in the BitLab on-chain course. But we can also look at CBBI. Colin talks crypto CBBI. We can kind of get a general aggregate view of what's going on between Pi Cycle Top, the Rupal and Nupal, the relative unrealized profit and loss, and the net unrealized profit and loss. Our HODL, which is the reserve divided by the HODL. So it's 1 week to 1 to 2 year holders. So you're measuring the value. Sorry, you're measuring the strength of, is there more coins being traded short-term holders, or is there more coins being held? So you're seeing the strength or weakness in the market. The Puel multiple, which is a measurement of the miners' profitability, and a 2 year moving average, which isn't really a on-chain metric, but you can utilize it with the Bitcoin Trolololo trend line, the MVRVZ score reserve risk, and the Wooble, top cap. And we're seeing all this aggregated to give us this sort of metric. Are we very undervalued? Or are we getting very overheated? We can also see it on the color-coded scale on the heat map here on the price action. And what do we see after we get this light green? We're starting to get a light green. We tend to then move and progress in to yellow each time. We barely got into yellow and started to pull back, or very light green. But this does have chop along the way, but we're seeing the same progression: dark green, light green, yellow, dark green, light green, yellow, and we're kind of sitting right here. And we're look at this. We're still very low, which means we still have a lot of room to go. We still have a lot of room for price to go up without it being overheated. But this doesn't mean that it's going to just price go up from here, because we have all this room. We could very well get something like this and then a strong sell-off, as we see right here. You also see this peak up and pull back. But the point being is we're in a relatively, we're entering a sort of neutral phase of the market in terms of where we're at for being undervalued or overvalued. Now let's go ahead and dive back in. We got a little bit of time. We're going to be doing some turbo TA, baby. It's time to get her done. let's look at it. I'm getting some dings in my ear. I think it's from something else though. So yeah. Let's go ahead. Turbo TA. Now, if I were to guess today on Bitcoin, if we look at this, let's come down to the 1 hour. What is the signal showing in the 1 hour? 1 hour. So remember on 4 hour, I was saying, man, this was starting to turn. Well, let me go ahead and I gotta have to turn off my Discord because it's dinging in my ear, annoying me. Look at this. Money flow on the 4 hour. Money flow. Okay, come on. Computer, work with me. Option T. Now we go like this. We're having a descending trend in money flow as price was going up. This was indicating to me that there's, that it's more likely than not that there's going to be at least a little bit of a washout to the downside. Is this going to be it? I don't know. But as it stands right now, this is like push up, down, sideways. Are we going to get a down, sideways, down somewhere in here? Or are we going to come all the way down to here? I don't know. But on the 4 hour, we see a downtrend in stochastics. We see the stochastic starting to roll over. So if we come down to the 1 hour, we can see that this is, coming up right up against a trend line. Same thing with RSI coming right up against a trend line. And also on this time frame, money flow is coming out. You see this descending level of money flow. Now, if we come over here to the BitLab, the newer BitLab sort of read, are we getting any signals here? Okay, we had a shift all the way back here, trend shift. That's what that is. We're not really getting any clear signal right here. So maybe there's going to be a little bit of movement here. Look at this. We have order blocks right above and below us. So maybe the washout's only going to come down into here. But as it stands right now, I do think there's going to be some form of a move to the downside. Currently, we're above the daily and weekly VWAP, and we're right at resistance. So, if we lose 30,000, I do think we'll likely come down and test at least 29.5. If we lose 29.5, then I think we're going to be looking at tapping some of these zones here. How far down we go is how strong the underlying bullishness is for all of the things. Now, if this does just push up here, remember, we do have this trend line right here. If this pushes up here, this very well may get rejected here and trade in this range here and continue this sort of sideways price action. Because as it stands right now, we also have a bit of a parallel channel going sideways if we consider this as part of it. So just know that. Now we're going to go ahead and do triple turbo TA. Let's look at Ethereum. Look at this. Look at this perfect call. Okay, come on, computer. Look at this perfect call right here. Now we have the down sideways. What's going to be our next move? Is it going to be a down sideways? Remember, we also have this head and shoulders right here. The measurement on this move was, look at this. We did this before all of this played out. We did this when the price was right here. And look at this line right here is a measurement of this head and shoulders. And this is exactly where the price has come to. So is there another move to continue down? Well, if we look at this, we do have this sort of bear flag here. And we have, if we measure this out, this is going to be pretty substantial. And I'm not making this up. I'm doing this live with you. This measurement of this bear flag would be directly down to where this previous resistance, now current support would be. And this, not only that, this is, if we delete this, look at this, we have an order block right here as well. So this is a strong possibility for Ethereum. If we do get a liquidity washout to the downside, Ethereum come down to about 1750 area. We very well could also hold, if there's a lot of bullishness that comes in, right this region, because we have support. So this could come down, tap this. If this bounces here and comes up, I would still be hesitant, because I do think if this comes down, it'd be more like this, like a continuation like that. This is all, remember, this is all institutions setting up to have as low price as possible for an ultimately incredible bull run that is coming. So if this comes down, take advantage of it. Don't get fudded out. Don't be like, oh my God, it's going down again. I'm giving you that map. This very well, if this does come up, remember, if this does come up here, we still have this area to contend with here, potentially come down like this and then break out. So either way, you have your levels, break below this or break above this. you kind of have an idea of what direction it's going to go in the interim. Now coming to the ADA, this was up here. I drew this, and look at where prices come back to. Perfect, man. This TA has been on point. I hope it's not always going to be this way. Sometimes we're going to have some different things going on in the market. Let's go double click. Okay, look at this. This looks a lot like Ethereum did. Down. I mean, look at this option T. This would be disastrous for Cardano price, because this would take us down to, look at this, golly, this would take us down to 20 cents if that were to play out like that. I'm going to make this, I'm going to leave this here, but I'm going to make this a lot less transparent, because I think that's lower than the price would go. But there is a potential, because we have this big order block right down in here. I mean, look at these calls. This is basically, we have a shift, weak, and strong, which is how strong the call is to go in those directions. And we're seeing this boom, boom, boom. This is bounced right here, coming up. This level right here. If we lose this, the real level I'd be looking for on Cardano would be right in this zone right here, which would be 24. And I've been calling for this for a while, 24 to 25. If we lose this level, then I do think that we're coming, that we are, because look at this. This is also exactly this price level right here. If we lose this level, then I do think it's more likely that we're coming to this zone right here. So that's what I'm seeing on Cardano. If we push up, we have this level to contend with us, not only on the pattern that we're in. What pattern are we in? Well, let's look at this sort of downtrend that we have right here. If we zoom in on this bad boy, we can see if this comes up, we have a lot of interest kind of at this level right here. Let's make this some more meaningful. Kind of looks like, let me see. This kind of looks more like it. Yeah, push out, support, and then lost it, and then rejection. This is where I'd be looking for either a rejection or breakout. And I don't think the breakout would be strong. 29 cents. If we're able to take 29 cents, I think we're going to have to contend with 30 cents right above it if we're able to get there. But things are looking weaker than stronger. Let's go ahead and MACD money flow. Okay, money flow is slightly coming up on the 4 hour. What's it doing on the 1 hour? Yeah, this is, okay, screw you. I'm not going to do that. Okay, stochastics are getting up there, and it's not even near this level. This is looking weak to me. This is looking weak to me. So let's go ahead and do, what was it, optimism? Or let's do quant, because I have that right here. Actually, I can come right here. Okay. Let me bring up the new stuff. Okay. So we lost this level. Remember, we had boom, boom. We've lost this level. And this is looking, we have an order block right down below here. We lost this level too. This is looking like it's trying to make its way down to around the $100 mark. $100 round number, important number to pay attention to. Likely retracement up a little bit and then continuation down. If we look at this, we're below the point of control as well. If we zoom out just a little bit, zoom in. Yeah, so let's look at the MACD, RSI. Money flow is rounding a little bit. This is on the 4 hour. Money flow is rounding. RSI and stochastics are quite low. Let's see what it looks like on a smaller time frame. Okay, look at this. The money flow is trying to round up, but then on the 1 hour, look at this sharp downtick here. We have a bit of a downtrend on the stochastics. This is looking like it's trying to work its way a little bit lower. Next level, yeah. Yeah, next level down. Look at this. 1.382 is right here at these lows. But we do have a high volume spike here. Strong volume spike here. So this is, If this were to fall, I'd be looking for, yeah, right at the $100 level. Look at this huge volume spike at $100. If we lose that level, then I do think we're probably coming down to this 1.618 at 95. That's what I'm seeing on quant. Now, optimism and then Cosmos. Okay. All right, look at this. This somewhat similar to the Ethereum chart we saw, but this is that sort of zigzag stair-step pattern that we talked about. The down, consolidation, down, consolidation. We already have a wick here. Is it like Piano Matty B says, where it wicks, it will candlestick? I don't know. But this is looking relatively weak. This is looking like a bear flag. What does this mean? Coming down to these previous lows. If this gets rejected in this zone right here, then I'm looking at this coming down further. This is bounced right on this highs. If this gets rejected in this zone, I do think this will come down lower. If we look at this with the MACD, okay, money flow is coming up on the 4 hour. What is it looking like on the 1 hour? Coming down, but it's looking like it's trying to reverse a little bit. But I just don't see conviction here. I'm seeing this getting rejected and likely coming down. If we do break up to this level and take this, then we're going to be looking at this previous high right here as a potential. But I think this will be weak if this does come in this zone. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be a bear today, guys. This is just what the charts are saying. It's just what the charts are saying that I'm seeing. And you can see whatever you want, and I welcome it. Let me know what you're thinking on all these charts. And you know, I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. I do think any bearishness that happens right now is actually a setup for further bullishness to come. Now, this is looking a little bit better. However, the money flow is coming out. This is looking like, well, this actually looks worse. This is a sort of broadening wedge here. Come here. Sort of broadening wedge here. These typically, especially angled up like this, typically break bearish. If we lose, this looks like a little bit like an ugly head and shoulders. If we lose this, this is a 1 hour. It was a 4 hour, say. Yeah, money flow's coming out, stochastics coming down, RSI coming down, MACD coming down. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this to come test this level, 870, 877 likely, and then the next level down is about 840. But that's what I'm seeing. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I have to go do some TA on BitBoy Crypto. I hope each every one of you have a wonderful day. Don't get worried by having, you know, when we have some 1 hour to 4 hour time frame bearishness in the charts. It's okay. It's a setup for bullishness if you know how to play it. So with that being said, I hope to see some of you over there in the chat throwing in those that positivity and those BitLab quotes in the emojis. But without any further ado, I love you all. Make sure that you check out BitLab Academy if you haven't yet. Give me 30 for 30% off. Make sure you head over to BitLab Academy Twitter, which is at Academy BitLab. Hit that retweet, hit that follow, hit that like button. And without any further ado, I love you all, and that's all I got. I'll see you in the next one. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. BitLabAcademy.com. Hit that like button, sucker.